and I was going through a terrible time, man. My mom was passing from cancer, and she was 46 years old. She was in Gary, Indiana, bro. And I went home, watched my mom take her last breath in the house, bro. And so that was traumatic, but that turned my pain into passion, and started mentoring positives, man. My mom's name was Muriel Pipkins, and I wanted to honor her name. And so I took the M and the P and I created mentoring positives, man. So that's where the positivity come from, bro. It comes from trying to take that pain and turn it into a positive thing. And so that's why I started mentoring kids, through enrichment programming like basketball, cooking. I have kids now making products for us, off the block products, a salsa pizzas in grocery stores here locally. And so, man, you're just mentoring, using those moments to never be negative in front of kids and always use a positive spin in life, man.
Shit, I'm about to go wait in this place when you dropping the bass in. The beat is like the streets of awaken. I'm making to break my foot off of somebody's ass. I'm waiting for someone to say my name so I can annihilate them. Okay, yeah. Everyone was screaming the rape when I was kicking at the gate till it caved in. Belly scraping by, but now I'm paid. Look at the paper I raked and I'm caking like Jay-Z and Drake. And I hate when people say that I ain't killing shit. The game is my playpen. I punch you in the face and end up breaking your break bands. I'm far from Hollywood. I'm posted up at the days in. Even though the industry say I'm the latest sensation. Drop the stuff at the board show. Becoming complacent. Mama saw me on TV with just a bum in the basement. You a Captain Saber, who you used to tuck in the cake pin.
You Control You podcast. You already know how we do. We start every podcast episode with what we're grateful for. I'm grateful for life. I'm grateful for everything. I'm grateful for such a dope hip halftime show last night. Hip hop living strong. Outside of that, like always, very, very grateful for my family, all the support. I keep dreaming bigger and keep moving towards bigger things, and they keep riding beside me. So that's how we do. How about you, sir?
Man,
What are you grateful for?
man, thanks for having me, man. I'm thankful for, like you said, man, family and being able to get up and create good energy around the world, man, around our community, man, because it's needed. And just blessing God, getting up every day to be able to take a breath, man, because we fail to forget about that when we wake up in the morning. What a blessing it is. So
It is. So, man, that's what's up. That's super dope.
Yes, sir.
So, for those of you that don't know, this man next to me is the founder and executive director of Mentoring Positives, my man Will Green in the building.
Yes,
How are you
sir.
feeling?
Man, good, bro.
That's
Good,
what's
man.
up.
Good.
I always love speaking with you. It's I don't think I've met a person that is more positive than you, and it gives me something to strive for. Last time I interviewed you, last time I talked with you, I remember you talking about how you learned how important it was for you to come home with a smile on your face because you have daughters, you have your wife, and you wanted them to feel safe, feel good. So you would always have to come home with a smile. And it took me a minute to really let that sink in and how hard that hit. And until I started coming home, and instead of wearing the tired face and wearing the exhausted face, wear the face of life is good, everything is gravy.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh man, this is what Will was talking about. Because how we as a man, when we come into the house, we change the energy of the house. So one, thank you. I love learning from other men. And so it was such a blessing on that. So mentoring positives. Can you tell us a little bit about that and what inspired that?
Yeah, for sure, man. Mentoring Positives is our 20th year. Well, it's 21st now. 20th year last year, man. Started the program in the Darbo Worthington Park neighborhood on the east side of Madison. Been in that neighborhood for the 20 years that we've been in existence. But we basically are a mentoring program. I got a background. I worked for CAP Supervision, which is now Briar Patch, but I worked for the supervision department in that agency. And I basically had kids that was adjudicated through the court system getting in trouble. And, I was just making sure we kept them in the community around, you know, wraparound services and supporting them. And so I've seen a lot of African American families go through the system. And I just wanted to get on the front end of it. And I was going through a terrible time, man. My mom was passing from cancer, and she was 46 years old. She was in Gary, Indiana, bro. And I went home, watching my mom take her last breath in the
Mhm.
house, bro. And so that was traumatic, but that turned my pain into passion and started mentoring positives, man. My mom's name was Muriel Pipkins, and I wanted to honor her name. And so I took the M and the P and I created mentoring positives, man. So that's where the positivity come from, bro. It comes from trying to take that pain and turn it into a positive thing. And
Mm.
so that's why I started mentoring kids, um, through enrichment programming like
Mhm.
basketball, cooking. I have kids now making products for us, off the block products, a salsa pizzas in grocery stores here locally. And so, man, you're just mentoring, using those moments to never be negative in front of kids and always use a positive spin in life, man. Because I never had my dad. And coming from Gary, Indiana, seen a lot of poverty. And basketball was mentored to me, but it was taught as life and basketball,
Mhm.
and that translated to me. And so I would excelled in basketball to a point where it turned me into a leader in who I am today. So I
Mm.
just use all those things, man. The hook is the key. So I like to do things that kids like to do. So I do podcasts and stuff like that, get kids involved, make the salsa, use basketball, use all those things to like engage the kids, man. So
Yes, sir. Oh man, that's super dope. Now let's let's take it back, right? Let's really dive in and um born and raised, or at least raised in Gary, Indiana. Now, those of you that don't know, Gary might as well be a mini Chicago. Gary and Milwaukee are basically baby Chicago's, and you deal with there's the gang element, drug element, violence, of course, in those areas. How how did your mom help keep you from falling in that trap?
yeah, for sure, man. Yeah, I'm not a kid. If my mom was here today, and that's what helped me. Be at peace because my mom never had to worry about me, bro, like in the streets, getting in trouble, you know what I
Mm,
mean? So when I had to put my mom to rest, man, I didn't have any like bad ill wills that I
mhm,
wish I wouldn't have did this enough. I
mhm,
was able to do that with peace. But like I said, I never had a dad, man. That was a big part of like what I was missing in my life. I think back on that. I know who he is now. I never knew him
mhm,
until I was 44, bro. And so I had never seen a picture of him. And he
mhm,
lived right there in Gary and down. A crazy story. I know his family now. And
mm,
some of them was here in Madison, and a lot of them are in Milwaukee.
mhm,
And they've been very accepting of having me as part of their family. I think there's still questions and how that went down. But getting back to my mom and how she did it, we had a grandmother. I think we missing that in the black community, bro.
mm.
I think the grandmother, now that they are moving on, you know what I'm saying? Like that bridge is
Yeah.
is is broken, bro. And because they taught a lot of values
Mhm,
and how we should move, and
mhm,
the old school values and where we've gotten from, you know what I mean? Now
mhm,
we have babies having babies, and the traditions are broken, of how to raise
mhm,
and have respect for our elders and things like that. So that was part of the plan because we lived with my grandmother.
mhm.
My mom had us there. We had uncles that came through, so if we got in trouble, bro, they was
Yeah.
on us. And and then I used basketball, bro.
Mm,
That was my sanctuary. At my 5'10" stature, I was UWEC's Eau Claire's. I just came back from the alumni weekend this weekend. I was their two-time MVP in
mm,
91, 93. And I led the team in scoring, defensive player,
mhm,
free throw shooting, three-point shooting, steals. But kudos to my coach, Carl Trigoff,
mhm.
old white Macedonian. Straight up, bro. He took me and my young black friends, man. We lived for that free camp he gave us, man. But he taught life in basketball in a way, man. And he was a psychologist, man. He thought about people. That's how I knew about people, man. He'd look you eye to eye. He'd
Mhm.
get you web to web with the handshake, bro. And he used to test us. He'd give us like 50 cents, $1 to go get Dunkin' Donuts, bro. But he'd get us in the huddle and he'd be like, "What's another name for a foot doctor?" I'd be like, "Podiatrist." And then he'd give us a little money, man. So it was fun, man. And he taught the fundamentals of basketball in a way that I was college ready.
Mm,
Um, in elementary, middle school, bro. He taught fundamentals in that way. A lot of
mm,
college players had, and so and it was amazing with shooting.
mhm,
If you see any of my kids, myself, my shooting technique,
Mhm.
I know exactly what kids are doing
Mhm.
with that. So I praise him for that. So a lot of that was my self motivation. I loved elders. My
Mhm.
great grandmother used to come over, bro. She used to come over for two weeks in the summertime, and she'd grab her little rocking chair, and we'd all have our clothes, and then we was cooking that week.
Mhm.
Grandma great grandma was here, but she never told us a story, but she'd always be like, "Y'all kids so blessed and you don't even know it." And
Mm.
when she was rocking, I was like, man, that stuck with me, bro. Some things
Mhm.
stick with you. And so
Mhm.
I was like, ah, man. And so it just made me think about what they went through and
Mhm.
what our elders went through. And so I keep that at the forefront, man, of what we do. And that's kind of kept me in line and like not wanting to be in trouble because I hated being in trouble. I hated being in trouble in school. I never wanted to be locked up, bro. I
Mhm.
couldn't think about my freedom being taken away. And yeah, and basketball was it, man. I wanted to play basketball in front of people, so I did anything I could
Mhm.
to make sure I kept that straight.
Man, so it sounds like even though even though you didn't have your father, you had enough of a community around you that could shelter you enough that it kept you on track. It helped keep you focused. And then also, to be honest, it sounds like because of that community, you never wanted to let yourself or let any of them down.
Mhm,
So that's such a big deal. It's not just when you brought up the fact that we have babies having babies, the other and we don't have that elder presence. A lot of what I see working with kids in the juvenile organizations or basically just locked up and
mhm,
mentoring them, they don't have a community. They don't have
mhm,
anyone they can lean on,
mhm,
anyone that's willing to call them out or say something or even pump them up.
mhm.
And so is that so you understanding that kids, especially kids of color, need that community. Is would you say that help impact what you're doing with mentoring positives now?
Yeah, no doubt. I think that's our job is to, connect kids to the different
Mhm.
opportunities that lie out here for them, because a lot of the mentoring is exposure.
Mhm.
The kids don't get
Mhm.
exposed to things, and so but it's not an easy job, bro.
Mhm.
It's not an easy job. A lot of people want to make it be out like mentoring is easy. You gotta like make a commitment. You gotta like be invested. Like you're gonna lose out on your family time.
Mhm.
You're gonna lose out on your like personal time. It's real stuff that you're dealing with, man. I don't fly plane because I don't want to have that many people's lives in my
Mhm.
hands flying this
Mhm.
plane. But when it comes to mentoring, that's something I'm comfortable with. That's
Yeah.
something I do. And I like building relationships with kids. I like for them to be grimy. I like
Mhm.
for them to know that I believe in you, even though
Mhm.
you and been down and knocked out. I like that. I like to impact kids because when they see that, when they genuinely feel that,
Mhm.
like you get a change. It's a click that
Mhm.
goes on with that relationship. And a lot of people miss that because they want to chase the program or the money and look like they doing something. But if you really did this the right way, you go and make sure you doing all the
Yep.
groundwork that needs to be laid in the back front of the work before you like be claiming you
Yeah.
mentoring because it takes a lot of mental capacity. So you got to build that around the kids and find out who their teachers are, who they believe in,
Mhm.
who they connected with. And we don't just haphazardly do mentoring,
Mhm.
right? We have a program that like evidence-based work that we do with
Yes,
these
sir.
kids to move them. So a lot of people miss that, but that's what it takes, man. We got to build a system where the kids can
Mhm.
be supported and feel like they can get it done because it's hard out here, even when you're a
Yeah.
grown man. It's hard out here, bro.
Yeah. So then what okay. So you're growing up, you're avoiding the traps that a lot of people fall into. You have this community that's behind you. And even though it's not perfect, you have a community. You have, as you've already stated, uncles, you've had a coach. So you have men in your life that are help steering you correct.
Mhm,
You end up going to college, right? At what point to play ball?
mhm,
Now, most people that are playing college ball, it's got to cross their mind some about playing overseas or playing NBA or something. Like,
mhm,
otherwise, why are you? you're
Mm,
pursuing this
no doubt,
dream.
no doubt,
So
no doubt.
when when did you hit that moment, or what happened that you were like, okay, I'm gonna start doing this community work. I'm gonna start doing this because when I met you, now we're talking over 10, probably over 10 years ago,
Mhm,
Lester brings me
no
into
doubt,
the
no doubt.
to the to over at Darbo, the Salvation Army, and
Yep,
I'm speaking to a group of kids that you have there to play ball.
yep,
So I know you've been doing this for a minute, and as
yep.
you said, you're celebrating your 21st year this year. So where where did that happen? What happened there?
Yeah, man, for real, like, early '90s, Eau Claire, Wisconsin, playing ball, and that's where I miss my dad, man, because I was very talented at
Mhm.
basketball, but I still was an insecure, boy. You
Mhm.
know what I mean? And, I just think about me being a dad and supporting my daughter in that
Mhm.
in that moment right now, like
Mhm.
how she struggled. And I
Mhm.
just told her last night, baby, you're gonna have a story to tell. They just beat the number 2 team in the country, bro.
Mm.
She plays at Carthage College. And
Mhm.
I hope my daughter don't get mad, but she struggled,
Mhm.
to like fit in with the team and kind of figure it out.
Mhm.
And from a coach's standpoint, I had to be like, babe, from a coach's standpoint, you gotta go work harder. You
Mhm.
gotta go in that practice. You gotta go like play some D. You gotta do what you gotta do.
Mhm.
You gotta look different. And from a dad's perspective, you want to support your daughter.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so here she is starting now, her junior year. She withstood that,
Mhm.
not feeling like a lot of girls look like her around. You know
Mhm.
what I mean? She withstood that. And I was like, you're gonna have a story to tell. It's bigger than the basketball. It was
Mhm.
about life. You went through a journey
Mhm.
and you could be successful through this and you could tell other people about
Mm.
that. And so going back to Eau Claire and me, I wanted to go. I could have played overseas, bro. I
Mhm.
had the talent and I could do that. I was all district. I led the team in scoring all conference. Eau Claire was a great place for me. But I didn't have the confidence to go
Mhm.
try to succeed, bro. I didn't have the confidence. I didn't want to fail. I sat back and I
Mm.
allowed that to be something, was I big enough? Was I old enough to go overseas and
Mhm.
and, and endure what that would have took, the competition of it?
Mhm.
And I think with my father's if he would have been there, like, son, you can do this.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Role model that, it would have been different for me. That's just my opinion. You know what I mean? But that was a big thing. So with that being said, I became the student assistant coach at
Mhm.
UW Eau Claire where I played ball. So 2 more years after I got done. Then I started working at the Eau Claire Academy, bro. It's a residential treatment facility. 200
Mm.
kids that got sent from Madison up there. Kids that
Mhm.
get sent out the community. So it was like 15 units on the in the building. Self harm, gang related, fetal alcohol. All those
Mm.
different things. All those things. And I worked on a sex offender unit when I first got there, bro. And then I quickly moved to the crisis department. So we
Mhm.
were the crisis department over the whole
Mhm.
building. So we had the security of 15 units, 10 to 15 kids on each unit, college students that were
Mhm.
staff. So you can imagine the fires I had to put out.
Mhm.
But what I found in that job, being in the crisis department, because sometimes you had to keep kids isolated and
Yeah.
in different room, de-escalation and stuff like that. But I found myself to be able to de-escalate kids and work with kids in their highest stressed moments. So I
Mhm.
knew I had this calm demeanor even when these kids was really stressed out. So
Mhm.
that's what started to work, bro. That place taught me so much about kids and how to work with people. And within that, man, we was like Cold Greens kids was running out the building sometimes. We'd have to go get them, you know what I mean? So it just taught me so much, man. And man, so that's what brought me to Madison, man, and I got into the work. And I had no idea I'd be on this journey, bro. I was studying like cartography in school at first, bro. Come on, G. And then I thought I was gonna be a state trooper, like, come on, G. No. And then and then and then I started doing criminal justice. And then actually I was going to Eau Claire in the early '90s, man. I didn't finish my degree until I got to Madison, bro. I went over to um, man, what's the Upper Iowa, bro? They had a
Mm.
site
Yeah.
here, and I finished my psychology degree in 2015, bro. So
Mm.
I didn't have to do that because I was already running the program, but I always wanted to graduate from college
Mm.
and finish that up. So I was working mentoring positives at the Salvation Army and going to night school, bro. and I finished my degree in
Wow.
psychology.
Grinding for
So that's
sure.
where it all happened, man. That's what got me into the work, man. And then that traumatic thing with my mom made me start the mentoring program, man.
Man, that's incredible. So when hmm, everything comes back to helping others, it's so big. I don't think hmm, you don't hear men talk about this enough. You mentioned something. You felt insecure.
Yeah.
And I don't know what's so hard. Like understand it because I was young and I remember being insecure and no, I was never going to say I'm insecure. And I don't know if it's an age and wisdom thing. You
Yeah.
just care less. But when did you decide that you're in those insecurities weren't going to stop you? Those fears weren't going to stop you? Because to me, when I hear your story, it seems like playing ball overseas would have been easier than working with the youth, to be honest with you. And it seems like you weren't afraid at all to work with the youth, even though that was going to cause you to be more open, more honest. And maybe you didn't know that at the time and take on more of it was going to be more work to work with them than playing overseas and just balling. So when did you say, okay, I'm going to start facing my fears and my own insecurities aren't going to stop me from moving forward?
Yeah.
When
Yeah.
when would you say that started happening?
Yeah, man. I think even though I was insecure in making that decision of like going over and playing
Mhm.
ball, you know what I mean? I think even, you know, living in Gary, Indiana, bro, like our downtown is all boarded up, right?
Mhm.
It's like being in a war zone without having a war there. You know, they
Yeah.
don't tear down the abandoned homes, garbage wasn't being picked up sometimes. And I love my city, bro. I
Yeah.
love Gary, Indiana, bro. I'm always claim Gary, Indiana. And they are gonna have some like revitalization, you know what I mean? They're
Mhm.
gonna have some sustainability plans happening within the city, and I look forward to that, seeing how we will grow
Mhm.
in the future, because cities like that always come back. You know what
Mhm.
I'm saying? So I'm looking forward to that. But for me, it was, bro. It was, I always had it in me. I always wanted to be something. I lived in a house with no heat, no lights, no water.
Mhm.
Sometime, bro. And so I always had something in me that I was gonna be successful.
Mhm.
And I don't even think people even realized, you know, the determination in you, because
Mhm.
people knew we lived in the bottom of Gary, Indiana. You know what I mean? They knew we didn't have much, but I always wanted to be successful. I was always gonna be successful. And so I had through basketball, bro, it really was. It's funny because I said basketball in the youth. I got it. There's no better job for me right now to be a coach
Mhm.
and a mentor. I always just had this confidence about me, though, that the basketball made me a leader, bro. It really
Mhm.
did. It really did. It just built my confidence to a point where I can confront things or, you know, move people to a different space,
Mhm.
because I always felt like if I can come from what I came from, you can do it too.
Yes.
So,
Yes.
and that's the mentality, bro. You know, the mind is crazy because you have to empower yourself to have positive thoughts
Yes,
in
sir.
these down times, you know, and so that's not easy for everyone.
Nope.
That's not easy for everyone. So that insecurity, I found it early on to like share that, just because I'm a man, to share that. I always wore my heart on my sleeve, bro,
Mhm.
and it's just who I am. But I think that's the authenticity of it. You know, people want to feel that. That's why we connect in that way. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? So it's just part of my lens, bro. It's just always been a part of me. And again, you know, there's people like Kobe, LeBron. They just got something about them they were born with
Mhm.
that other people. Michael Jackson, a genius. Prince,
Mhm.
genius. Kendrick Lamar, genius. Man, what? And so, you know, it was just part of my lens, man. And I just use it to the best of my ability. I'm very acute to people. I had this Piscean intuition, and you know what I mean. It just works in
My
my
daughter's
favor.
gonna want to hear that
It
one.
just works in my favor, bro.
So you build you're in Eau Claire, you're building things out there. What made you move to Madison? Because first of all, if people don't understand, like we can describe Gary.
Yeah.
I know about Gary because I treated Gary Indiana, almost like the South Side of Chicago.
Yeah.
However, I could go to Gary
Yeah.
and be okay. I stayed out of the South Side
For
of
sure.
Chicago. That the way my hat,
Oh yeah.
the way what side of my hat
Oh
was
yeah.
on,
Oh
and the
yeah.
colors that were typically worn that didn't make sense for me to
Yeah.
go to the South Side of
No
Chicago. It
doubt
just
about it.
didn't. And so Gary is different from Eau Claire, right? It's like me trying to describe people. Maywood is different from Richland Center, Wisconsin. Like it's just drastic differences. It's just like crazy. But
Yeah.
okay, you're in Eau Claire. What brings you to Madison?
Yeah, no doubt, no doubt. From Gary to Eau Claire to Madison, man. So I went from Gary, Indiana, 80% African American
Yes,
city,
sir.
to the whitest place in America,
Well,
Eau Claire,
yes.
Wisconsin, and then to Madison. But Eau Claire got a fond place in my heart, man. It's where met my wife. She actually was a cheerleader when I was playing ball there. And I never even really had intentions on marrying this girl. You know what I mean? So we had been together just over 30 years now, and just going back and forth. And man, she just was always there, and you know how you reconnect with your soulmate, man. So we've been together, like I said, for over 30 years. We've been married, man, 24, man, going on 24 years this year, man. So
Congrats.
and so, she lives right outside of Madison, man, Waterloo here. And Wisconsin was all new to me, but being from Eau Claire, that worked because I was a black athlete.
Mm-hmm.
I was the
Yeah.
MVP of the basketball team, so we get treated different, bro.
Yes, sir.
We get treated different from the environment we in. Don't get me wrong, bro. Like I went to Eau Claire, and one of my first experience with racism there, and people wouldn't even believe this. I was on Water Street, which is a main street where,
Mm-hmm.
people hang out. And car full of white dudes came by and like opened the door trying to swipe us, you know what I mean? Like from the side of the street, just who we are, you know what I mean? So dealt with it up there, like not as much as others probably did,
Mm-hmm.
just being that I was a basketball star. But man, dealt with it for sure. Racism. I come from Gary, Indiana. My first encounters with the police wasn't till I
Mm-hmm.
was into, Eau Claire, Wisconsin. I mean, they was pulling us over like 2 or 3 times in the night, bro, and like let us go. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Because my guy from Racine was in a big ass, oops, sorry,
You good.
in a
You
in a
good.
big
You
in a
good.
big Cadillac. You know what I mean? I'm like, oh man, this is crazy. So I was getting my first instance of
Mm.
that. Like, wow, okay. Wow, okay, yeah, yeah. Very eye opening. And then my daughter going through the same thing this year. I
Yeah.
was like, oh, she's like, whoa, dad. I'm like, yeah, I know you didn't think about yourself as a black woman, but until you get on a college
Yep.
campus and you get a lot of different views and people from different places, you start to understand, like,
Yes,
okay,
sir.
then, all right, this how we need to move. So, but yeah, man, that's how I got to Madison, man. I've been here 20, man, 2001, 23 years, man, 24 years,
So
man.
you
So
basically moved here because your wife had a connection here
for
already.
sure,
Okay.
for sure.
That's what's up.
Yeah.
Now let's go back. When you started dealing with, let's just be honest, dealing with racism. Now you're late teens, early 20s.
Yep.
So the typical college years.
Yep.
How were you able to avoid that trap? And what I mean that trap is let it either scare you away, I don't want to deal with this, or make you fight back in such a way that now you you basically buck against everybody.
Hmm.
How did you how did you avoid either trap?
Yeah, for sure. Man, I think, when we talk about it, because people even seeing your podcast right now. So I'm going to
Mhm.
call it out right now. People will look at it. They may see this little clip or segment when you said racism. And then all of a sudden, me and you are bad people. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Well,
so I'm
they know
calling
I don't
it.
care about
No,
that
no,
one.
no.
They
Bro, I'm
gonna
just
have fun with
calling
it.
it
Yeah,
out right
yeah,
now,
yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah,
So I want them to know, like, man, listen to the whole thing, man.
yeah.
Listen to what we trying to talk about.
Yes, sir.
We're not talking about me and you getting the upper hand on
Yeah,
somebody, bro. Like,
yeah.
we trying to talk about racism from a standpoint that me and you as, if you identify as a black man,
Mm-hmm.
like, why do I have to be so accommodating
Yes, sir.
to the masses that beat us down as a
Mm-hmm.
race and kept us back
Mm-hmm.
and has beat down our communities that we was trying to thrive in.
Mm-hmm.
um why do we always have to be the ones accepting of you as a person, and then I always got to get beat down when I
Mhm.
try to talk about these things that kept us down,
Yes,
right?
sir.
And so racism is about educating people of differences, different
Mhm.
cultures, and being accepting of people no matter where you come from.
Mm.
Um, and people get it twisted. Like you said, people want to keep us divided. And that's not what we're trying to do. Like, we're trying to be good people and we're trying to bring good energy. Like, man, I'm about to be 54, bro. Like, I need to spend my time with people that's like-minded, that is trying to move the masses in a true, honest, and open, deep way, right?
Indeed.
And so, man, racism, you can get caught up in it. But I got a lot of white allies. I do.
Mhm.
And a lot of them understand it's their job to help,
Mhm.
to find a way to help, because they don't.
Mhm.
I have a lot of friends that don't want to overstep their boundaries, and that's good
Mhm.
that they stay in check in that way. Um, but I got a lot of them that still need to figure out how to get in the game and help this
Mhm.
cause. And so that's where I come in. That's where you saying that. How do you not fall in? How do I become the
How did you not
connector?
fall yeah,
Yeah.
how did you
How
not
do you
fall in that trap
yeah, how do
then,
you
though?
become the connector
Yeah.
to make that not fall into those pit traps
Mhm.
of racism? How do you become the person that can bring that together? And sometimes it can be hard because active listening it's a technique. And a lot of people don't actively listen to, what is trying to be said. They want to win.
Mhm.
And it's not about that, because we are, like, again, we all want our kids to be good. We all want a
Mhm.
good house, paying job. We
Mhm.
all want that. There's going to be different ways to get to that. And
Mhm.
if me and you can't have a conversation like, okay, some ways here and some ways there, and that's how we talk,
Mhm.
instead of like, oh, you and you,
Mhm.
then we'll fall into those pit traps and miss the message, the bigger thing. So I think I'm just a connector to that, because I think it truly comes with pure kind of true intentional relationships.
Mhm.
That's how you make
Yeah.
it happen. That's how you start to build on things. If
Mhm.
you got a sponsor or whatever, they're not gonna believe in you
Mhm.
until they build a relationship with, like, let me see who
Exactly.
this dude
Yeah,
is. You know what I
exactly.
mean? So all that stuff matters, man. And I think that's what comes down to, like, making that bridge and not falling the pitfall
So
of the
even back
racism.
then, you were that person.
I was, bro. I was, man. I didn't like negative people. I didn't like to see the racism. I can't even tell you I've actively always just protested and things like that. But if I'm ever in a room or around people that's talking about it, I'm
Mhm.
gonna I'm gonna speak on it. I'm gonna speak on it, because I just can't allow it. It's just not in my
Mm.
bones to allow people to, like, be racist and do those things. Even my daughter, you know what I mean? Like, she's on a campus now, in Kenosha,
Mhm.
Wisconsin, bro. um, you got to deal with it, babe. Once you speak up on it, people respect you,
Mhm.
because, until you do that, people ain't gonna know who you are.
Mhm.
But you got to speak on it, and then they'll be like, "Whoa, okay." I sat with my teammates, bro, and my teammate, he may hear this, but I was a we was black dudes on a white team, and we
Mhm.
went to one of these parties, and here is one of our teammates' dad, calling one of the players nigga. You know what I
Mm.
mean? Um, did he mean it in that moment? He was drinking. I don't know, but how are we as a country, as a people, supposed to move and believe that you are battling for us in a country that has not thought about us as whole, as equal?
Yeah.
How do we supposed to believe that? How do we, and without you being the one to, like, honor that, say
Mhm.
that. I come from Gary, Indiana, but I went to a school with some white friends.
Mhm.
But now I'm seeing their views while we have this social media platform, and
Mhm.
how they really truly thought. That was a little different than what I
Mhm.
thought back in the day. And so, but if you can't acknowledge that we've went through this thing, like, when you see me,
Mhm.
it's a snap before you call me a
Mhm.
nigger. And I know you don't mean that to me, but you have to
It's
understand
yeah,
it's
why
part of
yep.
your it's part of your
Yep.
it's part of your thing. And I'm not saying it's you, but it's part of your space. It's part of who you are. And you have to understand. I think that's hard for them to understand, because it's not me. That was way back in the day. No, it's part of our history. It's part of
Yeah.
you. And you can't get away from it. And you have to acknowledge that.
I think oh, you just touched on a whole bunch of stuff. You just you just touched it. So the whole premise of the podcast, right, is you control you. And so many people run away from themselves. They don't know how to say hey, I was insecure at this moment, or hey, I my I knocked my crown off. I fell off the throne. I f- like I'm just not doing well, or I didn't do well at this time, or I wasn't focused, or I didn't believe in myself, or I didn't
Mhm.
have this. So what I noticed in those situations with people is it's too hard to accept that this was a reality, and it's too hard to accept that there's still people that maneuver this way, and there's still plenty of people that think this way.
Mhm.
And that's where, from my understanding and seeing people, that's where it's that's where we get in trouble,
Mhm.
because nobody wants to take responsibility. Nobody
Mhm.
wants to understand that until responsibility is taken, and it doesn't mean this is your fault, but hey, like you said, this is what was done. And I'll take it a step further. I hold all people accountable for their own actions.
Mhm.
And I think once we get doing that, we can start moving in a direction where we can actually have some honest dialogue
Yeah.
and chop it up. And
Yeah.
so it's, man, we gonna upset some people today. I see that. I'm digging this. I'm digging this. So now you moved, and this is where it's gonna blow people's mind. And this is what I love so much, where I'm about to go with this, is you everything you just talked about, right?
Yep.
Your wife is white. And you move to Madison. This is what people don't understand. It's like you're not just a man talking about like, yo, this and that and this and that. And it's like you you look at the world the way we should look at the world.
Yeah.
You look at the character of the person.
Yeah.
So, like, yeah, I get it. You're not that same person when you said this, or when your dad said this and this and this. But just take responsibility for
Yeah.
what was said, and we can move on, because
Yeah.
now if your character shows me something different, I
For
can
sure.
judge. I can now base my decision
No
on
doubt
being
about it.
around you
No doubt
based on
about
what
it.
you're showing me.
No doubt
So
about it.
you move from Gary, move to Eau Claire, playing ball. Now you said you've been with your wife for 30 years,
Yeah, over 30.
married 24.
Yep.
Now, before before we go into Madison, were you already married when you came to Madison?
No.
No, okay. Were you together?
Yes.
Okay. So, how did that relationship really start? And how did you know, okay, she's the one?
Yeah, no doubt about it, man. No doubt about it. Like, for real, coming from Gary, Indiana, I had never dated a white girl for real. And she was the first real true white girlfriend I had. And I think about this all the time because my two brothers even got white women. And but I think not even speaking on it, I gave them the okay, bro.
Mm,
They looked at Big Bro as the one. Both of my brothers wore number 10.
mhm,
Um, my little brother is the leading scorer in our high school, career leading
mm,
scorer right now to this day in our high school. So we were just a trio of kids that came through,
mhm,
bro. And they also didn't have a father. My middle
mm,
brother's dad got shot and
mm.
killed. And then my younger brother, his dad went off in a band, bro. Like in a band. He was in a band. Yeah, yeah. So we all
Man,
three
got some
never had
Rolling
no
Stone for fathers,
for real.
man. Papa
We
was a
all
Rolling
three of us,
Stone,
yeah.
man.
None of our dads, man. And so thinking about being with her, man, I quite honestly a dude from Milwaukee, my teammate, introduced me and my wife at Eau Claire, bro. And she came up for like a freshman orientation. And I met her, um, left, and then school started. I was there for my first summer doing summer camps
Mhm.
when I came up to Eau Claire because I transferred from Kankakee Community College,
Oh,
bro. I
okay.
played 2 years at
Okay.
Kankakee Community College, and the assistant coach seen me in like an all-star game for unsigned like sophomores. And I decided to go to Eau Claire. They had just came off a national championship run.
Mhm.
And yeah, met her, man, and then she's a cheerleader, so we didn't connect until like kind of like that fall, basketball season. Then we started hanging out, man, and she became my significant other. Of course, we had up and downs throughout the relationship, you know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? But through it all, like we ended up being back together, and yeah, I just moved here, and it was that time, bro. I don't even know, I haven't even talked to her. So when she see it, just gonna be like, what the heck? But I was just like, 30, I was 30, early 30s, man.
Mm.
Early 30s, you're just thinking about, yeah, man, I need to be doing something different in my life. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? Like house and real job and
Mhm.
and all those things. So it just seemed natural to settle down and thinking about marriage. So and I think sometimes, when you get into relationships, it turns out to be in that moment like what you thought was supposed to happen at that time.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
then you find yourself adjusting to things that I ain't noticed about her. Like I said, she gonna see this and be like, boy, you tripping. And so, but she's that type of girl, man. It's like me and her been together. She gets
Mm.
it, she knows it, and she allows me to be the black man I am. I think a
Mm.
lot of times, a
Mhm.
lot of times people would see us and think like this white woman, like, oh, he's bound down as a black man, like she run, I ain't saying like this white woman run me, but you know how it can be, man, especially with black women, because I think when black women see that, they feel like they lost a good
Mhm.
black brother, you know what I mean? And believe me, I miss my black women, you know what I mean? I do, I miss the culture of that. It's
Mhm.
very different. The cooking of that, and just all the things, right? And but I got a good mate, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
My kids love her. And I don't even think my friends from Gary, Indiana was comfortable with me coming home with her the first time,
Mm.
when she went home. And it had to grow on people
Mhm.
because my wife's demeanor, who she is, grows on people, bro.
Mm.
It makes you be like, oh, I could definitely see why he
Mm.
doing this. You know what I mean? So, kudos to her. And so, we got a job to do. My kids are black. They identify as black,
Mhm.
because of the culture in my house,
Mhm.
and how that goes. And so I got to do a better job of teaching them the history and what they
Mhm.
want to go through. It's a matter of when you teach them, I think,
Mhm.
too, so they can understand what's going on. So they just not out there like, oh, racism.
Yeah.
You got to teach them. So,
Yeah.
so that's a delicate thing, and I want her to be a little bit deeper in
Mhm.
how she think about it, and she is. Don't get me wrong, she down for the struggle, and that's what I mean by white allies. So that's how we got here, man. She was right outside of Waterloo, but I knew she had a different flavor. She liked Guy and stuff like
She
that.
like
Right,
Guy.
right. You know
Bro,
what I
they don't
mean?
even, you know
That's what I'm
what?
saying.
There's so many people that
Yeah,
are gonna
you know
watch
what
this
I
and like,
mean.
who is
Yeah,
Guy?
I know,
They don't
right?
even
I
know.
know,
They
right?
don't know nothing
You
about
know,
Aaron Hall. They don't know
exactly. You
about
know what I
this.
mean? So I was like, damn, that's
Teddy
pretty
Riley,
cool.
they
Yeah,
don't know.
that's pretty cool. I was like, man, that's all right,
Oh man,
man.
we
So
just showed our age, bro.
it's
We
all
just
good.
showed our
It's all good,
age,
man, because
man.
that was the era, man. You could never get away from that,
Man.
man. That was the good music,
Yeah,
man. That was a
for
time that
sure.
my kids right now be like, oh, the 90s. I wish I was like grew up then. I'm
Oh yeah,
for
my
real,
daughter
man.
says that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for real, man.
Yeah.
So they know it. Bangers, man.
Yeah. Well, speaking from knowing you and your wife on the outside, like in order to, and because I know the job of mentoring, and I don't know it to the aspect that you've grown it. Like it's huge how
Hmm.
you've grown it.
Hmm.
You can only build something like that if your queen is standing by you and supporting you the whole time. And so just seeing how you move, l- like you can't get that big
Hmm.
if you have someone pulling you away.
Hmm.
So just on that fact, I knew she must be supporting you in a way. But then sitting down with you both and chopping it up with you, when you had me come over to the office and I'm talking with both of you, I'm
Yeah.
like, oh, I see how he's conquering the world. It's like two of them
Yeah.
killing it right now. I'm like, oh man, this is crazy. So, man, kudos to your wife and kudos for you to recognize in her that strength and not letting anything divide you up and just and going through with that. So, man, that's big. So you moved to Madison, you're growing out your your own program. You're working, you're going to school, you graduate from school. Now you have all daughters, I believe.
Yep. 2 daughters. Yeah, no
Now
doubt.
I only have one.
Yeah.
Like I'm having both a daughter and son. It's like, oh, okay, cool. I do raise them differently. Some things there.
Yes, sir.
And you coach an all women's
Yep,
basketball team.
yep,
Okay, how do we get to coaching the all girls team? And did you already have your daughters before you did that?
right. Nah, yeah, yep, 2 daughters, man. One just turned 21, and then one just turned 10, bro. So one a junior in college, and then one in 4th grade right now. And so my oldest daughter, she started playing basketball in kindergarten. But I was already running a program called Capital City Soldiers. So I had boys when I first started coaching here. And man, I love coaching them boys, bro. Like coaching boys is very
Mhm.
different than coaching
Oh, yeah.
girls. They so much more responsive and grimy, get after it. But I don't. That's the difference. I teach the girls just like the boys. I don't
Mhm.
treat them no different. And I took the job at Madison La Follette in 2016, and so here I am coaching these girls from kindergarten, 1st grade. And I was kind of in the community a little bit, looking at La Follette. We was feeding into La Follette, my kids, and they wasn't doing too well. They
Mhm.
they had athletes, but I was like found out the coach gave up the job or
Mm.
left, and so I was like, I knew if that opened up, I wanted that
Mhm.
job, and so I put my hat in the ring, man, and I ain't had nothing to lose because I think they had just won like 5 games the
Oh,
year
yeah.
before. And it wasn't going any higher than that. So I took the job, man. But knowing that I had these 7th graders that was coming in, you know, few years after that to feed into some good players I had already. So it just turned in. I started loving to coach girls because boys sometimes can be very catty on the court because they want to score. They want
Yeah.
the ball. They need the ball.
Mhm.
Just crazy dynamics,
Mhm.
bro. And I'm like, man, this is crazy. But at any rate, I started with the girls, and I just love their attentiveness to like
Mm.
the coaching, listening, attention to detail. Believe me, they catty too, but um, I didn't get into coaching for the X's and O's.
Mhm.
That comes easy to me. It was more about the relationships,
Mm.
building it, growing kids, the basketball and life that my coach
Mhm.
taught me, bro. That's
Mhm.
all I do is his teachings. That's
It's
it's
amazing
such a
how that
yeah, it's
happens.
yeah, it's such a mentoring experience, to give what he gave me to be given
Mhm.
them and to be successful at it. And
Mhm.
so my daughter then was 8th in the state her senior year, bro. And we've broken all kinds of La Follette records. I got a girl right now, bro. It's 20 the class of 2028, Najawani React, bro. She's number 1 in the state.
Oh, you
She's
heard my man
freshman.
Corey back
Oh
there.
yeah. Oh
Yeah.
yeah. Oh, he already know. He already know who she is. He know who she is, man. Stop playing. She is something, man. She is something. She's 14 years old. So I've been blessed to have great players. And sometimes people would think like, "Oh, great players. Oh, you should." No, that's the hardest job a coach will have
Yep.
is to have great players because you got to bring them along in a way,
Mhm.
their greatness, but also help them understand about leadership
Mhm.
and how to invest in your team and understand
Mhm.
trust in your team. And that's not easy to do with kids because all these outside forces come in that. So
Mhm.
it's been an honor to coach the girls, man. I love my girls. Malia is a junior in college, bro. She is 4.0 student. She just made the dean list again, and that's been
Mm.
throughout her college career, bro. With basketball,
Mhm.
she's also BSU. She doesn't just sit around the campus, bro. She
Mm.
gets involved in everything
Mhm.
in the campus. She's studying psychology, so I'm excited about
She's a
that.
chip off the old block is what
She
you're
is,
saying.
yeah, man. And then the little one is falling in line too. So again, it's just been a journey with it, but I love it. I am the head coach for the varsity girls at Madison La Follette. If
Mm.
people didn't know that, this is my 9th year doing that, bro. So, but I love it, and I've been able to get into our youth program and have some kids coming through. So you're gonna be hearing from La Follette the next
Man,
5 6 years for
that's
sure, bro.
incredible. So your daughter was in 7th grade when you took over the job?
She was in 7th grade. Yep.
And then were you coaching her at that
I
time?
was coaching her since kindergarten, 1st grade. I had a crew of girls. Yep.
So then you were able to still balance coaching both teams?
I was
And
able to do that. I was
man,
able to do
that's
that. That
oof.
yeah, bro. I'm about to be 54, so I probably was at the tail end of my energy level
Yeah.
of like coaching her on the
Mhm.
weekends and doing tournaments, but also
Mhm.
coaching my high school team. Yeah, bro.
So then
Yeah.
do you still now do you coach your youngest?
I coach my youngest. I coach
Ooh-wee.
my youngest. But you know
Ooh.
what? I've over the years, bro, 9 years, it took some time. I was able to like I have a good core of like volunteer coaches, bro.
Mm.
So I didn't have to be there all the time.
Mhm.
So I have this young lady, she works at Henderson, and she is such a joy because I see these girls, even my daughter, getting better when I'm not there. So I get to coach on the weekends because they
Mhm.
had the games on Sundays, so that
Mhm.
worked. But it was perfect match because she likes to teach the skills and I
Mhm.
like to do the coaching. So she likes me to like come and coach on Sunday
Yeah.
and sub them in and stuff. So it just works great. But I got volunteer coaches, bro, now that really Drew Ellis, he's our seventh grade coach. So they are about to get ready for state. So they're gonna be going competing for state. They won it last year. So just some good growth, man. And that's why I'm gonna have a decent squad at the high school level for the next couple few years, bro.
I don't know if y'all understand what you're hearing right now, but this man is essentially you're not just mentoring the the girls that you have right now. I don't know if you've ever taken the time to realize this. So let me shine some
No
light on
doubt,
this.
no doubt.
You've built a coaching tree.
Yeah,
You've built a legacy that's going to last longer
yeah,
than you,
for sure,
that is impacting not just the high school
for
kids,
sure.
but it's impacting all the way back, what, 10th grade, fourth grade?
Yeah,
Fourth grade. So it's you're impacting basically for 8+ years of these kids'
oh yeah,
lives that's going to help them the rest of their
oh for
life,
sure,
regardless of what's going at
for
home. It's going
sure,
to impact, even to the point, even if they move before they get to you in high school,
for
you've
sure,
impacted their life
no
just in the
doubt.
coaching tree. Man, you are building a program, sir. Like
Yeah,
you have
no
a
doubt.
program, and that's one thing that a high school is going to be successful when you look at the kids that are in that area
Yeah,
and there's a program.
yeah,
There's a program that's designated to help them grow, not just not just in their athletics, but with grades
yeah.
in the community. That's insane. Kudos to you. You've literally built a coaching tree.
Yeah, man. Yeah, for sure. It was intentional, bro. Like for real. Like especially, and I'm not perfect, bro. You know what I mean? Like I run a nonprofit.
Hmm.
So I miss meetings sometimes. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? I got to get paperwork done. You get that done late, stuff like that. So I like being human. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? I like being human, bro. I like being human, and so I call that out, but intentional about growing the program. I did not want to leave. When I leave here, people are gonna say I was a good dude.
Hmm.
People is gonna say like he loved people and he wanted to inspire people to be better. And even from my basketball standpoint, like when I left La Follette, I'm not a La Follette alum. I'm not from Madison.
Hmm.
I am torn, putting all this time and energy into Madison community,
Hmm.
and I got my city back, Gary, Indiana, where I
Hmm.
could be pouring this same love into my own people
Hmm.
back there. Timing is everything, so here I am today. But when I left La Follette basketball, when I got it, nobody, they said it wasn't a youth program, and there wasn't, right? If I didn't come from a basketball background, I wouldn't know how to take
Hmm.
that job and do that
Hmm.
job, and I wanted it to be good. And
Hmm.
and I want people around me that want to take it to another level
Hmm.
because that's why would you if I'm a Kobe Bryant fan, it was not because he was like I consider the second greatest
Hmm.
after Michael, but it was his mind. It
Oof.
was his work ethic. It
Hmm.
was how he went about the game and broke life
Hmm.
down, man. Like nobody spoke like Kobe Bryant
No.
in that realm of how he speaks about
Oh,
how
I
to
just got
break things
goosebumps.
down. Yeah.
Oof.
So I cannot be Kobe Bryant, but I can take pages out that book to try to like achieve and be to that point,
Yes.
especially with the basketball, because I know it's something. If you look at my logo, it has the basketball in it.
Hmm.
It meant so much to me and gave me so much opportunity and built me up as a person when I excelled at that, mastered that skill. being a black dude with a basketball skill, you like a little community
Mhm.
god, bro. You know,
Mhm.
people when people see me, I'm a shooter.
Mhm.
I enjoy that. You
Yeah.
know what I mean?
Yep.
That feeds
Yep.
me. Like, yeah, because I put a lot of craft into that. And so I didn't want to leave La Follette basketball without somebody having a youth program in place and them not leaving and being like, hey, this was our thing. You
Mhm.
know, so it was all love, bro. It was all love, and that was intentional. I have grown the La Follette basketball girls program, and then we are the state of emergency with girls basketball. A lot of
Mhm.
programs are hurting for girls basketball. You know what I mean? And it's going to be an issue because it took me 9 years to kind of get people in,
Mhm.
trust, and get the kids. It
Mhm.
took some time, bro. You can't do that overnight.
Yeah.
And so, man, I'm averaging about 25 girls in our program right now. So
Oh,
that's like two teams,
yeah.
right? Barely. If somebody get hurt, sick or something, like
Mhm.
we hurting. So I still need to grow that, but I'm happy because I do have one now.
Mm. So it's it would be safe to say that as of right now, La Follette's got you tied up for the next 8 years.
For
At
sure.
least, because
For sure.
we know
No doubt about it, bro.
the baby's coming
No
through.
doubt
And
about it.
so
No doubt about it.
now after she graduates,
Yeah.
and I'm guessing she's gonna go to college. And
Yep.
so
Yep.
whether it's for hooping or whatever the
Yep.
case may
Yep.
be,
Yep.
then do you start looking at do you take the time to look at Gary? Or
Man, yeah, nah, man.
mm,
Sometimes when you have built so much in a
mhm,
place, that's what held me here now,
mm,
because a lot of people when they start a journey of doing something, they get off the journey because it didn't fulfill them in the way that they thought it
mhm.
would in that time. They didn't ever gave it the time to you know, come to fruition.
Yes, sir.
They got off the path, and I'm a true believer of like persistence, staying on the path, the
Mhm,
fruits of the labor coming. I don't need it immediately. I don't need to be seen. I don't need to be heard for my purposes.
mhm,
When it's important, I will speak up.
mhm,
But other than that, man, yeah, man, I'm gonna be here. I know I'm 50, about to be 54, so 10 years is not too far away.
mhm,
Life goes real fast.
mhm.
So I'll be 60 something in 10 years, and I'll look at life a little bit different because we all
Mhm.
looking at going out the door. And
Yeah.
what is that going to look like for us? And so that's on my mind right now, man, and how that's going to look. But I'll be a part of this community for a long time because I
Right.
think I've helped build a lot of what this community look like for our youth.
Mhm.
And that's being spoken to me by the youth that I run into now that's like 30 years old because I met them when they were 10
Yep.
and they in the community working
Yep.
and doing stuff and still working with me. I have a guy that started in Darbo. He worked for me now. So they seen what we
Mhm.
did. They a part of that lens. They gonna be the next ones to carry on that torch.
What I love the most about what you're doing, and again, hopefully someone has said this. Like I don't know if they have, and hopefully it's something you've noticed. Most of the times when they start to revitalize an area. Now people think of Madison and they don't think they think UW Madison, they think the capital, they don't think anything else. If you think violence in Wisconsin, you think Milwaukee, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, I'm not saying Madison is Milwaukee. I'm not saying that at
Yep.
all. But all of us that live in Madison understand the struggles that Madison has, and we know the neighborhoods that are struggling.
Yep.
Typically when they start to revitalize an area anywhere in this country, the color changes,
Oh, for sure.
right? And I'm not saying that doesn't happen. You didn't go nowhere.
Yeah.
Like matter of fact,
Yeah.
you double down to where your place, your office essentially is relatively brand new
Mm-hmm.
in the same area.
Mm-hmm.
And so most people don't do that.
Mm-hmm.
Most people dip
Mm-hmm.
and all the white business owners come in and they move in.
Mm-hmm.
And since day one that I've talked with you,
Mm-hmm.
it was always I'm staying in this neighborhood, I'm doing this,
Oh,
I'm
for
thinking
sure.
about getting this building, I'm thinking about doing
For
this.
sure.
And now that it's done, I remember when you mentioned, "Hey, you know where that old deli place is, right? That's
Mm-hmm.
we're getting into there." I'm
Yeah.
like, "Where? I didn't even know they were shut down. They
Yeah.
moving? Oh yeah, yeah. They're not going to be there.
Yeah.
They're not going to be there in like 3 to 5 years. Like they're moving out, and then all of a sudden it's like
Yeah,
You're in there, it's
no
like,
doubt.
oh man, this man is really thinking long term with this, which for anybody like me, it's like, oh, I gotta it's a challenge, but it's a challenge in a good way. It's like, oh man, this brother is doing something great.
Mm-hmm.
I got okay, I need to be greater, but not to tear you down.
For
It's like
sure.
I need to be greater because I
For
need to
sure.
step my game up. Like
Yeah. No doubt.
he's out here killing it.
No
And
doubt.
so that needs to be recognized, sir. The fact that you stayed in the neighborhood, the fact that the same kids that worked with you from day one
Mm-hmm.
know you didn't dip.
Mm-hmm.
You're still in the same area.
Mm-hmm.
And so
Oh,
that's
for sure.
huge. That's huge. That makes long-term impact in what's going on. So can you speak about exactly you mentioned it, the salsa, the pizzas, but again, I've known where you come from. I
Mm-hmm.
know where it started. Like
Mm-hmm.
I've seen it
Mm-hmm.
where now you have a shop. So
Mm-hmm.
can you describe your business right now? Can you describe the building right now
Yeah.
so people understand?
For sure. So, I met with you, man. We have this 600 square foot
Mhm.
apartment in Darbo, right in
Mhm.
Darbo. That's where we meet with a lot of the elementary kids.
Mhm.
We got groups there Monday and Tuesdays for elementary kids so they can just walk over across the park
Mhm.
to the space. So we still have that space. My staff still meet with kids over there in that space. And it really is a two-bedroom apartment we turned into the office.
Mhm.
And so that's where we meet with the kids, talk about de-escalation and how to be good friends. Fast forward, it took a while. We got to I use salsa, I use urban ag as a way to engage kids. So we got this off the block salsa and pizzas and all Willie Street co-ops, Metcalf's Hilldale, Westtown, Regent Street Market, and now we have this shop where the old
Mhm.
Ellis Deli used to be. And it's quite funny because Ellis Deli before they left there, I knew that they hired a lot of Darbo students,
Mhm.
bro. They hired a lot of Darbo
Mhm.
youth. So kudos to them for like even
Mhm.
indulging in the neighborhood and hiring kids from there. And so the developer seen an article that I had spoke in, and it was talking about the East Washington wave, so coming
Mhm.
down from the capital down to where Darbo is, you got all
Mhm.
this development because 20
Mhm.
years ago it was nothing. And now I see all this stuff like, whoa. And
Mhm.
it was right at the front door. And so they wanted us to know if we wanted to be in the bottom of that development. And we was like, yeah. And so they basically found a donor, man, to like, man, $500,000 to build that out for us, bro. Like for
Man.
real, for real. That's how Mentoring Positives is there. And so that's our storefront. It's called Muriel's Place, bro. My mom, everything my mom, man, she pumped energy through me. She was an amazing cook, bro. People loved her cooking. I learned all what not even knowing.
Mhm.
It wasn't like she's like, Willie, you gotta come and do this and
Mhm.
this. And it
Mhm.
wasn't that, man. I was just in the kitchen. I just seen it.
Mhm.
I just knew it. My family was amazing with that. And so Muriel's Place, man, and it's a 2,000 square foot. It's not a full blown like restaurant. It's a
Mhm.
restaurant. People can come in 11 to 7 Monday through Thursday, but I still have the youth as part of that space. You know what I mean? Like our big restaurant sitting area is my entrepreneur
Mhm.
kind of touch point space. So I invite marketing people in there,
Mhm.
financial literacy, all that happens in that space. And
Mhm.
then we incorporate the culinary training.
Mhm.
So we can hire the kids.
Mhm.
They get $10 an hour to produce our salsa and pizza in that space, man. So it's been great, man. We still need to bring awareness to the community that we
Mhm.
there. We definitely want to raise our sales
Mhm.
because I always envision off the block being a part of revenue income. So I wouldn't have to go and write for grants all the time. I wanted to take control. You control, right?
Yeah.
You control.
Yeah.
I mean, like, yeah.
Yeah.
And I want to control that. So that's one of my goals to do that. It's $84 million worth of pizza being sold. Yeah. In Wisconsin. And so man, we need 1% of that. And then I can pay the kids and
Yeah.
make all that happen, man. But I look forward to having like different events in the space. Partner up because I can do a lot of different things in the space. I got my own space, bro. So like book series, things like that, and do it around food, bro. So a lot of that stuff's gonna be coming, man. But still gotta build some staff capacity. But my staff has been great. Because like you said, I couldn't do
That's
it by myself.
yeah.
And in the future I hope to do one more big development, bro. Working on that. and
Oh,
then
wait,
I'll sit
wait,
back.
wait. You see what he just did? You see how he just what big development?
You
Or is
know,
that something you got to
yeah,
talk about off
yeah.
camera?
You know, we no, you know, man, we you know, I've always, yeah, you know, it's you know, the Darbo Dream Center, man. I
Oh,
envision,
okay, yeah, yeah.
yeah, for
We've
sure.
talked
We've
about that.
talked
Okay,
about it
okay,
before,
okay,
and
okay.
you know, I'm hoping that comes to fruition, man. You know, again, patience is the key.
Mm,
But that is coming down the pike, man. That's not a secret.
yes, sir.
You know, to have our own capacity, man. So, gonna be looking for different, you know, um, things to engage the community and help the community
Oh,
with
most
that.
def.
And yeah, man. And then I'm gonna sit back, man, retire, and that's about 15, 20 years. But
Mm.
you know, I'm looking forward to that. Eating some Danish on top of that building
Be a
and
grandfather
drinking,
by
yeah,
that
you know,
time. You
drinking some
know, yeah,
coffee and
yeah,
stuff. You
yeah,
know what I mean?
yeah,
I ain't rushing
yeah.
it. You feel me?
No, I'm looking forward to that Darbo Dream Center.
Yes,
I'm looking
sir.
forward to like having some Muay Thai self defense
Yes,
in there. I
sir. There
remember
it
having these
is. There it
conversations.
is. There it
I don't
is.
even. It doesn't even
No
need to
doubt
be
about it.
business.
No
It just
doubt
need.
about it.
I'm just looking forward to
This
helping
is
some youth learn
for
how to
sure.
do something than
All
what they're
day.
doing. So,
All day. You definitely in the
um,
plan.
man, before we go,
Yeah.
podcast. You are podcasting now, sir.
Yeah, no
So
doubt.
tell us about your podcast. What's the name of the
Yeah.
podcast? What's going on?
Yeah, man.
Where can we find you?
Man, Up Next TV, man. Terrence Jackson, he runs that TV. He got the app. It's Up Next TV again, man. And he was like, "Will G, you know, I just need to give you a platform, bro, because I'm helping you. You got reach, and you have a voice. You know what I mean? And the social compass, you know, mentoring positive is the social compass. And again, you know me, bro.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I went there. You know, the social compass, because I feel like socially we need to get back to
Mm-hmm.
having relationships and discussions. And, you know, it's a platform when you have this, you know, you and
Mm-hmm.
Corey here, Media 22, you know, we ain't done work together. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
It's like, you know, y'all cats, you know, able to give people a platform, you know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? And it's important, especially for black people in this community, bro. So you had this platform, you able to give people the opportunity to share their stories
Mm-hmm.
and their information and work. That's what we all about. So like you say, no, not trying to like step on anybody, you know.
Mm-hmm.
It's room and space for everybody, and we all got different people and ways that we come together
Yes,
and
sir.
speak on, you know, speak on the things that really matter, you know, and shaking things up. So the black voice is very needed in our
Mm-hmm.
community. Black media is very needed in our
Mm-hmm.
community. And I just want to socially connect with people and talk about the social issues and things that we go through to put that out there. You know, I know my voice carries a lot of weight in the
Yes, sir.
community when it comes to youth and different things that we're trying to do in the community. So, again, not about me, man. You know, I just like the space. Everything is kind of bringing awareness to people, and so that's what I like about it. So we do it. You know, they air on Sundays, man. Up Next TV. You can download the app, and we'll have those on demand pretty soon, so people can watch
Yes,
those,
sir.
man. So it's pretty cool.
Man, I look, just keep doing what you're doing because you are raising the bar for the rest of us. And at least at least for me, I don't know about everybody else, but for me, and I know I can speak for Corey on this one too. I want you to be the greatest that you could be because it just motivates me to be greater. It just motivates me to go get it more. Like when you're talking about coaching, I'm like, man, we all coach the same. It's like we're all trying to build the youth.
Yeah,
We all bring life into coaching and like
yeah,
let it cross over. It's like, okay,
yeah.
this is dope. So kudos to you, sir. You keep trailblazing the path and keep making things happen. And man, it's a joy to hear about you. It's awesome to read about you. It's truly amazing. And I'm I'm grateful that you are in this community working and we get to watch and enjoy what you're doing and strive to do our part to measure up more or less is the best way I can think about saying it. So man, father, entrepreneur, community activist, brother, a hooper. Like you and Corey need to get on the court and play some ball. Like, well, I want to bet some money on that game. Who's got the better shot? Who can do what better? Like, let's see how this pans out. So there's a bit of an age difference, but you know, I think I've seen Will hoop in person. Like he still got it. So
still got it, man. These knees don't allow it, man. But man, you know what I mean. But I still can shoot that thing for sure. So I'm very confident in that, man.
Man, well, thank you for being on the show. We appreciate you, man. Man, what an awesome. Thank you so much, man.
Yeah, man. No, I appreciate it, man. It's been great, bro.
Yeah. So you know how we do. Tune in, subscribe, follow. Man, peace. We out.
Shit, I'm about to go.